almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
See, in my opinion, it's really the beginning of knowing whether or not you finally began to see the real picture. And what that is realizing that this is all just one big show. It really is. And when I say everything is one big show, what I mean is, for the most part, everything that you see on TV, okay, you think it's just the movies or your TV shows or your music or stuff like that, that it's all just a show. But no, the truth is, most of the people you see on TV, politicians, you name it, they're all actors. It's all just one big show. But the majority of the population have been fooled so well by this, misconception that not only is it not a show, but they have the ability to interact with it and change it by, for example, voting. They believe they pick their leaders. Now, I don't know if I'll go as far as attacking the validity of maybe local elections at like a state level. Maybe you can make a change at that. And when I really look at the whole political system, maybe they don't get corrupted till later on. Okay. But I do know this. I know at the government, like the governor level, okay, because they have a board of governors. So I know you have to be in the club at that point. Okay, I know that. By the time you get to be a governor, you're one of the actors. You're in it. So I would say, to give you a fair assessment of what I see based on the way things are, maybe some politicians start off, wanting to get into the big leagues. The more they get around it, they understand. It's, for example, like somebody who is good at being an actor, good at playing the game. They just haven't got their part yet. And that's what politicians are, and like the same thing. So when you get thrown into this role of playing this person, because I mean, if people think they could just run around like the Wild West, like, a lone gunman out here trying to, like the whole story they pitched you with Trump, like he's some savior of a guy that's going to come along, and especially being as rich as he was, and he's just going to save everybody from their problems and drain the swamp. No, it's and think about it. He was himself a reality television star. He was a celebrity. He was in Saturday Night Live. He's in a whole bunch of stuff. So he's an actor. He's an actor. Reagan was an actor. Like all these people, but they're the ones who are the only admitted actors. But see, like I'm saying, what if I told you, and you can see it, if you're really wanting to see the world for what it is, this is the truth. There's the few politicians that are admitted actors, but then on the bigger level, that they're all actors. Like, look at, for example, here's some more examples of ones that people didn't know as well. Like, and people think it's a coincidence because it's not even in this country. Like, look at the president of Ukraine. Okay. He was an actor. He was a famous actor over there. Okay. And then you look at, what's his name in New York, the mayor, Mamdani. He was a wannabe rapper. I laughed my ass off when I seen that. When he had the videos on YouTube, he was trying to be a rapper. These people are all playing a part. I'm telling you, when you really look and get down to it, because, and here's the other thing, because when I make reels about stuff that's going on, whatever it may be, people are like, oh, well, there's a few things I have to say about this. One, people are like, oh, well, don't you know that, this? I'm like, you don't have to school me on it. I talk about it all the time. That's why I had to explain to somebody else. They were speaking of the Fauci thing that happened last week. They were they were saying, oh, if you don't think Trump's a criminal and Fauci isn't, then you don't know what's going on. And I'm like, well, you must be new here, because if you even slightly knew my view on politics, you would know that, if anything, I believe, I mean, it all depends. Fauci and Trump work for the same masters, because Fauci's been around doing his little evil deeds for a long time, and I can't stand that little freaking Keebler elf. He's a real piece of garbage. I mean, shit, he's been wrecking havoc since what, the mid 80s. But that's the whole point of today's show, is people need to understand, okay? All of what you guys see, even like the Fauci thing, that they're going to pull him in front of a Senate committee hearing, and he's going to be possibly found in contempt, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. They're not going to do shit. Okay? It's all a big show they put on for you guys. All these people play grab ass behind the scenes. It serves multiple functions, if people realize this whole Fauci thing, and when they do stuff like this. It serves a function to keep the masses distracted, especially when they're doing a lot of things behind the scenes, because there's a lot of stuff financially, all types of stuff that's being reshaped. I mean, the monetary system is being reshaped for easily the last year and a half behind the scenes, like heavy, with what the banks are doing, with what large investors are doing. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that they don't want you guys knowing about. So the easiest way to do it is to cook up this whole cock and bull story that they do all the time they did it with Trump, drain the swamp, or put Hillary in prison, and do all this shit. I mean, they never do shit, okay? It's all just a big show they put on for you guys. And I'm telling you, because when I seen for myself that these people, in a sense, like, you'll watch a play or a movie or something, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, these characters hated each other, like in the movie or the whatever, and then you see them behind the scenes, like hanging out and talking and laughing. That's what it is. Like with Trump telling Hillary, it's all a part of the show, and they have to they have to throw slights at each other, like, oh, you'd be in jail, and everybody cheers, and it's a big show, and they know people love it. And Hillary gets embarrassed, Trump gets embarrassed, they all get embarrassed, because that's another part of it too, is people know the humiliation rituals with the rite of passage, in a sense. They know they have to pay their dues at some point. But it's, as I'd said, manufactured prosecution. That's what I mean by that. They manufacture this shit to one, like I said, distraction. There's multiple reasons, but a few of the reasons are, it's one, to keep you distracted from any type of big stuff that's going on that they don't want you guys knowing about. So one, it's to distract you. Two, they're doing it because they want you to believe that something is being done about a certain person or situation or whatever, because they don't want the people uprising. That's the whole reason why they put Trump in the position he was in, because people were fed up. Like after Obama and all the stuff was going on, and even Bush, like people were uniting in a sense before that. Because think about this. People realize, even Republicans were like, Bush is a piece of garbage, warmonger. Obama is a piece of garbage. He's a warmonger. People were noticing, no matter Democrat or Republican who was getting in office, nothing was changing. So it was, I forgot who said this. He's an elitist, but somebody will probably have to put it in the comments. Can't remember who said it, but it was something along the lines of, when I think it was Albert Pike. I'm pretty sure it was Albert Pike. And if people don't know who Albert Pike is, he's like a real famous Mason from the 1800s that wrote books about Masonry and shit. And a lot of the New Age Masonic stuff goes based off of what Albert Pike taught. But essentially, what Albert Pike said was, when they want when they need a hero, we'll give them one. And that's what they did with Trump, because people were fed up. You have to remember, especially with social media, they know stuff that's going on before you would even know. Okay, so if you had, if a riot was going to jump off or things were going to go down, they would know about it before anybody because of the way, like, the algorithms are. Algorithms have been around longer than people even know they've been around. They've been gauging and in the background, knowing what we think. I mean, think about it. As they said, Facebook was originally LifeLog that the 3-letter agency had. And, like, come on. You guys really think that's a coincidence that Facebook started the day after that program was shut down? That's just a coincidence. And it was the same thing, getting people to log all their information in. Because they even said, the head of the other 3-letter agency that starts with a C and ends with a for the people out there, so you know, you don't say those 3 letters, because I promise you, they already throttle my channel enough. It's that's the last thing I need. So I try to watch what I say here and there, but it's not hard to figure out. 3-letter agency starts with a C, ends with an A. They wanted to give, in a sense, they said we should give Mark Zuckerberg an award because he got people to be able to put all of their business and their information, where they're at, what they like, when their birthdays are, all of this shit onto one platform. And we didn't even have to pay them to do it. They do it for free. And in some cases, they pay for blue check marks or whatever. They pay to tell people all about them. And it's wild when you think about it. But no, that's the point of what I'm saying is they know as much about, they probably know more about your friends than you do. They do. Well, no, what am I talking about? They do. Because they can look at your messages. They can look at everything. They look at your emails. They have a better picture of the people around you than you do. Even yourself. They know everything about you. So they know what makes you tick. They know when the people have had enough. Like, for example, the Big C event just so happened to happen conveniently around when China was rioting and they were yelling Trump in the streets, holding signs and shit. It conveniently happened when that happened, but also we had the Save the Children movement, all that type of stuff was going on, and then boom, right at the end of 2019, China lockdown. It started to get bad, you know, going into the months going into 2020, but that's what they were doing. Like, anytime they need to pull the reins back on people, they will. And I honestly know they believe they did for a while. See, people are waking up now to what's going on, to a lot of this. But for a long time, they've been able to use it to their benefit because people are continuing to believe the bullshit story that they pitch you guys. And that is, somebody's out there fighting for you. It's a Republican, it's a Democrat, it's this guy, it's that guy. Like, I seen where they put AOC up there saying she wants answers about data centers, or trying to stop them from being built. And I'm like, wow, I never in a million years thought I would ever agree with anything that balloon head ever said. But here we are. And I'm like, but you see what I'm saying? Like, even though I agree with something she says, it's all bullshit. They act like somebody's putting up a fight for you because it'll keep people at bay. And like I said, if you look up what Operation Trust is, Operation Trust was an operation that was based around, I forget what country it was in, but pretty much what they did is like what they did with Trump. Because Alex Jones was talking about this. He said essentially Trump was Operation Trust 2.0. But now he's back on the bandwagon with Trump. So go figure. And that's how you know you can't trust nobody. They're either... Alex Jones is not stupid. Okay? They're either stupid or they're working for the deep state. Period. And he's not stupid. The guy knows a lot about... He called so much crap that was going to happen. And I would say you better hope that a lot of the stuff he said for the future doesn't happen. Because he said essentially that 2020 was a big beta test for the big one that's going to come. And he said essentially everybody was doing what they want you to do, and they were seeing who was going to comply, who wouldn't, and then essentially, for example, when the big one happens, like when something really bad does happen, people will automatically be in a routine and know what to do. Social distance, go inside. They'll know all the stuff they need to do. But he was saying that, and then when they line people up, he was saying the things they use next time really will be the take them out. So I guess only time will tell, but yeah, and see, speaking of Alex Jones, there you go again. Manufactured prosecution. Because they put him in a court over the whole Sandy Hook stuff and said, oh my gosh, look, and that's how they got you. That served a great purpose for them, because now they showed if they can do it to him with all the money he has about trying to question these, mass events that I talked about on a recent episode, saying they already prove at Operation Northwoods that they'll do it to you guys. So they did it with Alex Jones. Don't talk about or question these types of events, or you will get sued. You'll get sued into the ground. And that's what they achieved with that. But that was all a bunch of BS. It's all a big dog and pony show. Political theater. And it's just what it is. It's all one big freaking movie. And when people start to realize that is the beginning of being liberated in this effed up corporate landscape that we all live in. Okay? It's a messed up place that we're all living in. And the fact that, like I said, that's where you get the Truman Show and all this stuff from. It's really a biography, because they're showing you. They're laughing because they're like, we're really showing them the truth, and they don't even realize it, that it's all really one big show, and that all these people we put into play, it's, life. Well, I don't know what it would be at that point. Like, I'd say life imitating art, or art imitating life. But in a sense, if the world's already been like that and they make a movie about it, it would be, art imitating life. But people really think that it's life imitating art, and it's not. It's already been these agendas. That's another thing is, see, people think this would be the dumbest thing anybody could ever think, though, but a lot of people do, I can tell. They think that, like, the government screws up and something happens, they're like, oh man, that sucks, well, I guess we're gonna have to fix that. And they believe like these people really aren't super calculated and plan all this type of shit like far in advance. They've been planning this for so long, back when the District of Columbia like was formed. I mean, it goes so deep down that rabbit hole, it's not even funny. And I'm going to touch on that in a future episode. That's why I don't want to spoil some of the stuff I'm going to talk about DC and stuff like that. But it's the people need to understand this. It's all one big show, because the more they can manipulate you and get you to believe in the crazy crap that they're talking about, and to have your eyes focused on that, the easier people are to manipulate, because they can't have a bunch of free thinking people running around. That's why they try to stifle a lot of voices that are free talking, like mine or anybody else's, because they're like, if we have too many of these people running around out there, then it's too much of a wild card. You get what I'm saying? It's like like I told you, they don't fly by the seat of their pants. They don't guess. Okay. They have to run a formula that they know will work. And having people out there that are easily influenced, they want to make sure if people are easily influenced, they're influenced by them, not somebody else. That's another reason why heavy influence is controlled. And the bigger people get, the more they want to control you. Like, I can guarantee one day when I get to millions of followers and stuff like that, they'll want to control or stifle my voice. Yeah, if they can't control you, they'll just wreck you. So will the day eventually come? Probably. Will I stop doing what I'm doing? No, because I know the truth lives on. I know there's still going to be people out there looking for the truth. And shit, if it comes to that, then I guess, what am I going to do? I'll just have to have a website or something. I'll have to find a place where my voice can still speak freely on the internet and get the word out. Because as I talked about in a past show, I said, we couldn't do this 50 years ago. You get what I'm saying? That's an amazing thing. I would have to go work for the man and there was no way to get your voice out there and heard. You had to be a part of the Zog machine that they put you in, and you had to, and what you talked about had to be approved by the programming director, and you could only talk about certain, man, I would have been fired quick as shit with the stuff I talk about. But people really need to wake up to that. Once you wake up to the fact that this is all one big provable show, I'm telling you, it really truly is. And nothing ever comes of this stuff. Like I said, Trump, the whole thing with that. I remember when that happened they're like, oh, he's going to have like 15 or 30 felonies and he could face whatever. I said it flat out. I said, listen, Trump is protected. That man won't serve 1 day in jail. When they did it to Trump, that was honestly just to fire up the MAGA people. That's all they wanted to do. Fire them up. And then you'll see some stuff happen on the other. Though Democrats are already fired up enough. Like they're whack jobs, a lot of them. So like, oh, we don't have to really get the Dems going. We'll just fire up these, Republicans and get them at each other's throats. But I was right. And I was like, see, nothing came of it. Nothing happened. And because, for example, and I thought this is wild because, see, people are going in on Alan Richardson, the guy who he's in the movie War Machine, and he's in that show Jack Reacher. They're going in on him for doing an interview where he simply said he doesn't understand how Trump is not going after these people that are in the Epstein files. Like, why are there no arrests being made? And see, that's proof right there. There's the only thing they did and was like, okay, we got to hope that, people will be okay with this. And what they did was they brought in like Prince Andrew. They'll bring in a few people with it, but they didn't really do nothing to nobody. You know how many names are in those files? Okay. And these are the unredacted or the redacted ones, or unredacted, whatever you want to call it. This isn't even the full scoop of what it is. And there's still all these people's names in there that are out there, that are famous, that are politicians, that are filmmakers, all types of people. And they're running free. And they're not being prosecuted because they don't want that to happen. Because think about that. They start really going down that road and prosecuting these people. That fires the people up for revolution. They don't want you fired up for revolution. They want you guys sitting back, watching the little show they put on for you, and people cheering it on and still believing that, hey, somebody's out there fighting for me, so I don't have to, because they're doing it for me. But until the day comes where people start to wake up to this show that's being ran right around them, and you're a willing participant in it, an actor yourself, because you're playing your part as the confused citizen, the confused person that's watching it. That's what's crazy, is you're a part of a show, or you're watching a show, either way you want to look at it, and you haven't even agreed. You don't even know. But I think that's what it is now. I think it's time for people to wake up. Open your eyes to what is going on around you. None of these people are your friends. And I promise you, here soon, people are going to see. Like, I heard a wild thing on Facebook the other day. It was a meme. It was pretty crazy. It said, somebody said that flock cameras are actually in place because they're going to be how the elite are going to watch us when they're in their bunkers and watch everybody just taking each other out. It's going to be their entertainment. They'll be down there sipping whiskey and champagne and shit and watching everybody like the Hunger Games or the Purge. So that's pretty wild. And think about it. in the movie The Purge, didn't they have like cameras, like it seemed almost like flock cameras, because they were like in the roads and they were in the cities and they were showing, I mean, it's pretty weird when you think about that. But it's what it is. It's crazy to think that this is all one big show. It's just when is enough people's eyes gonna open up to it? That's the question.